Hi, you have tuned into the Raging Aggron Channel, and I'm your host, Djingis, and I'm here with our second to last draft recap. And today we're gonna go through the Sinnoh Conference, and we're gonna go through the Diamond and Pearl Division. In this video, we'll do the Diamond Division, and this is an interesting division, to say the least. We have a very mix of coaches that can be interesting to follow throughout the season. We have the Toronto Tyrantrams, South African Staraptors, New England Pidgeots, and Huntingdon Hydreigons in this division. So let's go through their teams, and let's start with T-Man and the Toronto Tyrantrams. His team is Dragonite, Ferrothorn, Silvally, Salazzle, Gligar, Kangaskhan, Mega Manectric, Tapu Fini, Uxie, Avalugg, Hitmonlee, and Greninja. Overall, it's a very well balanced team in my opinion. A lot of bulk and a lot of physical offense and special offense as well. Has some interesting speed tiers that is actually pretty workable. And the only thing that might be a bit of a problem is the hazard removal, but even that shouldn't be too much of a problem. He isn't that weak to hazards outside of Dragonite, because Dragonite needs the multi-scale, and outside of that his team isn't too weak to rocks or hazards in any form. He has a very good hazard setters in Ferrothorn and Gligar, Uxie, so that shouldn't be any problem at all. And the rest of the team is well-rounded, to say the least. The only thing that I kinda lack on this team is a better fire type than Salazzle. But Salazzle can do work. We have seen it put it in work in other leagues, so run with it, I say. I mean, it's a good fit, it's a unique fit, and it has some interesting abilities as well, which makes it pretty usable as a poison type as well. I don't have too much to say about this team. It has Wish support in Kangaskhan, which you might not see too often, but it has base 105 HP, the highest on his team. So if he can pass wishes around, his team will stay bulky forever and ever, and never can take hit after hit after hit. So that's actually pretty good. And of course he has Torrent Greninja, not Protean or Ash Greninja. It's Torrent Greninja, and the only thing that I don't really like in this team, outside, well, I said the fire type, but outside of the fire type, it has to be the 4-time weaknesses that this team has. He has Ice on Dragonite, Fire on Ferrothorn, Ground on, well, he has Ice on Gligar as well, and Ground on Salazzle. That is like your 5 out of your first 4 picks. But wow, 5 out of your 6 first picks are weak, quad weak to some type of move that is pretty common to have HPs or what is called coverage moves. But he has a pretty easy way to deal with it. He can just go Silvally Steel, I was close to say, but he can go something with Silvally to make up for that weakness. He also has Tapu Fini that can easily take hits. Uxie can take hits no problem. So I mean, it is not that it's the worst problem, but he has some quad weaknesses on his team that can be a bit problematic. But at the same time, as long as you have another bulk or a wish passer and so forth, your team should be more than fine to take care of those problems. For me, this is maybe the most one of the best drafted teams put together so far in both draft pools, which is pretty interesting. I really like the team, and I hope it can put in work for him. Next up, we have the South African Staraptors and Coach Jessup, the Season 1 champion. He went 15-0 in Season 1. He didn't lose a single match in 15 weeks. That is pretty impressive. So, and Jessup is back. He's back to protect his crown and to be the winner again of the PSL. He has the Tornadus, Therian, Rejuniclus, Alomomola, Fortress, Mismagus, Substrika, Mega Absol, Zygarde 50%, Terrakion, Amoonguss, Miltank, and Scrafty. Boy, this team is bulky. and he has 1, 2, 3, 4 regenerator Pokemon, and he actually joked about having a full team of regenerators when he finished Season 1, because everyone was so pissed off him because of that. So him actually drafting 4 regenerators and actually sticking to that plan somewhat at least is pretty impressive. And that no one was able, and that no one sniped him of those Pokemons is even more. Like, this is maybe the scariest team you can face if you look at defensively. Because this team just hits every single time. And of course, Relicus might not be regenerator every single time. Same with the Mungus, but like they will benefit from regenerator a lot of the times. I like the hazard removal, I like the hazard setters. I'm not that big of a fan of Fortress, but we will see how he uses it. We have some... like, the only big problem that I can see here is that there is a pretty big gap in the speed tiers from 95 down to 65. And above 95, they are pretty cramped together between 121 and, well, from 121 and down, so it's pretty cramped together there as well. But as long as you have the bulk, this doesn't really matter, and you have the offense to actually make this team work so well. The Fairy Dragon Steel Core is... well, you don't have a Fairy actually, now that I look at it. You have a Dragon and Steel. I don't think you have a Fairy, do you? No. I was actually thinking Miltank was Fairy type for some reason. That would be dope, actually. If Miltank got the Fairy type, that would be a very, very good Pokemon to have. Much better than it is now. You don't have a Fairy type. Okay, so that's the big problem here. Then you don't have a Fairy type. You don't have a Dragon Switch in. But at the same time, you don't really need it on this team. I feel like, because Fortress, most dragons are physically offensive, and you have Fortress for that, or you have Reuniclus or Thundurus for the especially offensive, and you always have a Lomomola to take it. So it's not that big of a problem. I'm interested to see how well Scrafty will do in this team. I'm very, very interested to see if he can use Terrakion as well, as he used some other Pokemon Season 1. Like, Terrakion is that kind of Pokemon that most of the time it's trash. And I have yet to seen it be used very, very well in Draft League format. So I hope that Jessup can use it pretty well. But with that said, I think I don't have anything else to say here really on the South African Staraptors. It's a very well-rounded team, very bulky, and has great offensive pressure. Like, it would be hard to deal with this thing. Maybe the special offensive part of the team could be a bit better, but as long as you have Tornado Therian and Reuniclus, and Mismagius, of course, you are kinda safe on that part, I would say. So next up we have the New England Pidgeots and TJ. TJ actually dropped out of the league due to time, but decided to actually join up again, and we are very, very grateful for that. TJ has a lot to do with DBA-, which I am part of as a coach, and the draft is soon finished, which is great, but this team is scary. Like, I don't see a lot of teams that can actually deal with this team. The only teams that I can see dealing with this team pretty well are the Toronto Tyrantramps and the South African Staraptors, and they are in his divisions, which is pretty unfortunate, I gotta say. But he has Celesteela, Mimikyu, Araquanid, Lycanroc, Dusk, Komala, Simisage, Mega Ampharos, Arcanine, Piloswine, Mew, Crobat, and Pangoro. I mean, for me, this is a team that is put together with great synergy from Pokemons that you don't see together on the same team all that often. And you have great speed in some Pokemons, and you also have great priority forms. You also have sticky webs to help out with the rest of the speed tiers. You have bulky Pokemons, you have some quad weaknesses, but you also have a lot of immunities and resistances. I mean, all over the team, this is a very interesting team to face, and it is really scary on paper. Mostly because this is a team where if you don't prep for the Mega Ampharos, and the Megaforce comes, you will have a bit of a problem. If you don't prep for Celesteela, and Celesteela comes, you have a bit of a problem. And if you prep for Mimikyu, and Mimikyu doesn't show up, well, that could be a bit of a problem as well for you, because now you have over-prepped for some things. And you didn't think that the Rakronid was good versus you, well, here you have a Rakronid. I mean, sure, that can be said about a lot of teams, but on this team, it's like, if you don't bring a Rakronid, well, there are no webs, and that is a completely different matchup than if you had webs. If it doesn't bring Mimikyu, well, that is a completely different matchup than if you had Mimikyu. So you will have more or less one Pokemon that will have to take care of one of these big threats that he actually has, and that is hard to deal with overall. And I'm sorry if you hear the noises from downstairs, guys. This is my brother watching a movie. I can hear it up through the door, but I hope that you don't. Even if I turn down the background noises, you might be able to. I don't know. I don't think so, but you might. And then just having Mew on this team is a big help. And I have no clue why it says the Pilot one has 10 HP on the dock here. I'm gonna change that. I don't know what it has normally. We can actually shake it up right away. Oops. But Djingis team, it has good it has good hazard setters. It has some well, it has pretty good hazard removal as well. The speed test is a bit lackluster. But yeah, Pilot One is base 100 HP. But at the same time, you don't really need... Like, the only thing in this team that is weak to rocks would be the Araquanid and the Crobat. And Crobat and Arcanine, of course. And Crobat is very, very crucial for this team to work, in my opinion. Because that gives you a U-turner, and then you can U-turn so much upon every single team. And that is very, very important, especially versus the teams that the TG has to face. But with that said, I'm just going to go through to the last team of this draft recap, and that is the Huntingdon Hydreigons, coached by Swagfish. His team has a very interesting core and very interesting build, I gotta say. Like, I really like this team. It has a lot of utility that can work very, very well. The only thing I don't like with this team is the fire type, and you will know why pretty soon. He has Tapu Koko, Hydreigon, Pelipper, Breloom, Lycanroc, Midday, Alolan Golem, Mega Swampert, Golisopod, Gliscor, Tornadus, Golurk, and Delphox. I know that you need to have a fire type on your team, and Delphox is, I mean, it hits hard and it is pretty fast. Like, it's base 104, base 113. It is pretty fast and can take some hits as well. Fire Psychic is a great typing, but people still sleep on Delphox, and for me, this is a bad team to have Delphox on. Mostly because you have a bit of a knockoff weakness, as it is, in my opinion. Golisopod takes a huge amount of damage from knockoff. That does Golurk as well. Delphox takes a huge amount of damage as well from it. Tornadus takes some damage. Like, this team has some problem with taking knockoffs overall. But then you have the Rain team, and you have Rain paired up with Tapu Koko. And that is scary, because now you have Electric Terrain with Rain, and you can suddenly fire off Thunders from Tapu Koko. That I'm pretty sure that Tapu Koko gets Thunder, at least. It should be. You're just gonna shake it out. I'm pretty sure it gets Thunder. Yeah, it does. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. So now we have a very, very big threat. Now you don't have to worry about Thunderbolts in Electric Terrain. You have to worry about Thunder in Electric Terrain. And I would be surprised, like, how many things can actually take a Thunderbolt from Tapu Koko in terrain? Not a lot. And then you take away the Bolt and just have Thunder instead? That will hurt so many teams. And then you have Hydreigon to pair up with Tapu Koko. You don't have the Steel type on this team. I would rather have seen a Steel type over Delphox, to be honest with you. But Delphox actually fills some speed roles that you had a problem with, and it also gives you Psychic type, which you lacked previously, so it's a great fit on the team in that sense. I would not have gone Golisopod in this team. I would have gone with another Bug or another Water type, and I might even have gone, if you really want a Delphox, I would have gone with the Steel type of Golisopod. Lycanroc fits kinda odd on this team, mostly because it doesn't really benefit from the Rain at all. Breloom can be useful in rain, I guess. But I mean, Stab, Hurricane. I mean, Hurricanes will hurt it a lot. Like, I think a Hurricane will want to go with no matter what. But then you have it 100% accurate in rain. But I mean, it's doable. Regular Tornadoes hits like a truck, but I don't think it gets Hurricane. It might, actually, now that I think about it, it might be able to. But yeah, you have some. I'm just gonna check that out because I'm tired of being wrong all the time. Let's go to Tornadoes, and you have Prankster, of course, on Tornadoes, which is pretty useful. You have a lot of things, and let's go Hurricane. It does get Hurricane, so I mean that's Hurricane spam as well. So yeah, this team works very well. This is a very well-rounded rain team, much better than the previous rain team that we saw. I gotta say I have a bit of a problem with the hazard removal. You have Gliscor and you have Tornadoes. On this team, Tornadoes will have to be Scarfed or Sweeper most of the time. Gliscor will have to be bulky with Defog, of course. That is possible. It very well could, but Gliscor's roles on this team is bulky and then you would have the Defog on it. So you have one good Defogger. And then you have Pelipper, which could run Defog, but I mean, it's not the best Defogger. You don't want to stay in more, you want to switch it out pretty fast. Have a Coca and Hydreigon doesn't want to use Defog at all, and you don't have a Rapid Spinner. So you have a bit of a problem in that sense. But at the same time, I think it's only like 4 Pokemons that is really weak to rocks on your team. So it kind of weighs up the problem you have. But overall, this is a great team. If I would have to decide who will go through from this division, just looking at the teams, I would have to say the Toronto Tarantrums and the South African Staraptors. New England Pidgeots and Huntington Hydreigons could very well fight for one spot, but I don't think both of them will go through. To be honest, I'm kind of sure that none of them, not the New England Pidgeots or Huntington Hydreigons, will go through. Because T-Man and Jessup is such good battlers and they have great teams to use as well. So that might be a bit of a problem for the other teams in the division. But with that said, thanks for watching this video. There will be one more going up today that is a draft recap. And I will catch you then.